I wasn't aware of it, just been reading about it today, that Hezbollah, according to Syria, has been firing shells across the border into Syrian territory. Some of them landed near the small town of Serghaya, which is inside Syria. I'm wondering, what is Hezbollah trying to achieve here? And do you see Syria now being dragged into this?
Okay. I don't know if we can say that we could have seen this coming. It has been months that there are buzzes, news, rumors, info that probably one day, once the war would flare up again, and it is flaring up again, Syria would be the second front that would divert Hezbollah in case of an overall attack against it. The buzz began, first of all, the worry began with the fall of the Assad regime in Hezbollah's head and the people close to Hezbollah's head. The way they perceive the new regime in Damascus is a hostile one. They perceive it as a Salafi one that they have fought in Syria. So they are, I would say, entitled more or less to perceive it as seeking retribution and revenge, although it is not maybe assured that it will be the case. However, when it became more serious, it is when the Americans themselves, and here we could find quotes of Tom Barak, Ambassador Tom Barak, special envoy, ambassador to Turkey, special envoy to Syria, and for a while heading or holding the Lebanese file in Washington or for Washington. He said twice or three times that in case Lebanon is not able to disarm Hezbollah, Lebanon will be, quote unquote, handled to Damascus in order for Syria to take care of its affairs, a little bit like it was handled in the 90s and before. This has raised a lot of red alarm in many heads in Beirut, in many Lebanese segments. And yesterday, when Ahmad Shara, in a phone call with Arab peers, said, "We are ready to support the Lebanese government in disarming Hezbollah," after having in the White House, if you remember, a few weeks ago, signed a sort of agreement with the US under which Syria is part of the anti-terrorist coalition. So if you consider that Hezbollah is considered by the US as a terrorist organization, all these facts are converging towards anchoring the idea that at some point, probably, there will be an action on the Eastern Front, on the Lebanese-Syria border front against Hezbollah. Will it be an attack? Will it be an incursion? Will it be harassment? Will it be commando operations? Will it be easing some Israeli action like 2 days before? 2 days before, a patrol of Israeli helicopters landed in Syria land and entered the Lebanese Bekaa in order to conduct a covert operation at night. So this is one example of what Hezbollah is today increasingly fearing. Did it trigger a preemptive strike by Hezbollah today on Syria? I'm far from being sure. I don't know what happened. But what I know is that this is a front that is probably going to open at one point or another.
Okay, so we're in a situation where the Lebanese government was given this very difficult mission to deliver on, which was to disarm Hezbollah. They haven't managed to do that. Lebanon has not been rid of Hezbollah. And we're in a situation where Israel is now striking Hezbollah. Syria could be drawn into the conflict. Could you see a day when Syria, with this Israeli air cover as well, and the Lebanese army, join forces in some respect and deal with Hezbollah collectively?
I wouldn't include today the Lebanese army in that because we have enough indications that the Lebanese army and its command today are extremely reluctant, if not more. They are refusing almost to go that road. Probably what we will see in the future, in the coming weeks or months, is the hammering, the persistent hammering of the Israeli Air Force over Lebanon here and there in depth and on targeted killings and etc. And in parallel, certain actions or certain movements at the border that will probably try to curtail the movements or to render the movements of Hezbollah in the Bekaa Valley more difficult, and probably opening certain avenues or certain facilities for Israeli Air Force or Israeli forces to operate in the Bekaa with probably a logistical or operational help. I think that Ahmad Shara is very much wary that entering the bee's nest in Lebanon could be costly for his forces and his regime. He has enough to chew internally, but at the same time, and here I'm taking the risk of being very cynical, at the same time he has certain radical factions within his ranks, within HTS and the new power structure in Damascus, of which he would like to get rid, or he could easily send them to fight Hezbollah on the Lebanese front by selling this service both to the Americans and the Israelis if this is part of his survival contract. Maybe I'm going too far, but this is something we could expect. I think at that point, the Lebanese army will be really in trouble, not only from the military and operational point of view, but from the political point of view. I can't envisage today a Lebanese army, the personnel, the soldiers, the officers, really joining forces with Israelis and this sort of Syrian regime in order to fight Lebanese Hezbollah. I mean, Hezbollah, which part of is still Lebanese, we like it or not.
Okay, well, we really appreciate you helping us to make sense of this complex situation and a fast-moving situation. Thank you very much indeed. Dr. Joseph Bahoud, Director of the Institute of Public Policy and International Affairs at AUB. Thank you very much indeed, sir.
My pleasure. Thank you.
Well, that is all we have time for on Global News today. Thank you very much indeed for watching. Do join us again tomorrow. We'll have some more exclusive interviews for you then. Till tomorrow, bye-bye.